Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Brian Vale. Everybody know me as the Anointed Vale. Just want to share my life story. I grew up in a very humble family. I'm the second of 9 children, and my life was never always the way it is today. I grew up in a place where poverty was the beginning of everything. There were days when we had no food to eat. There were days when it was hard. Growing up in a single parent family of 9, knowing that tomorrow is not promised to me with food, knowing that I may go to my bed tonight without something to eat, knowing that the system around me tells me that I can never be anything good. I grew up in a place where young ladies get pregnant at age 16, young men smoking and drinking and gambling and dropping out of school. I grew up in a place where everything around me told me that I was supposed to fail. And I remember the day when we had nothing to eat and we had to eat grapefruit. I remember my brother and I, we went around the back of our home and we went in, got the tree and we picked grapefruit, coconut jelly. That was what we had, and that was all we had to eat. And it got rough, even worse. It brought us to a place where I remember one of my little sisters said to me that she said to my mom rather that it was so difficult for us. She had nothing, and I remember she said, "Mommy, it's grapefruit for dinner again." And I remember for the very first time in my life I saw my mother cry, because I think right then and there she realized that there was something that was happening to us, and it was called poverty. I think right then and there she realized that we were really, really poor. But I believe through everything that I did, everything that I've been through, God had a purpose for my life. He knew me before, and He had a purpose for my life. He had a calling over my life. I remember the days when we had no food. I remember the days when it was so hard on us to survive. I remember we weren't able to go to school as much as we need to because Mom never had any money. And I say this because Mom grew up in a place where she never had the opportunity to excel beyond her first schooling, just primary school. She never had the experience to go beyond that level of education. So she was one who would go and she would wash clothes, do laundry for people, just so that we could have something to eat. She would clean houses just so that we could have something to eat. And I remember sometimes it hit me so hard. I remember not being able to go to school, and sometimes 2-3 times for the month. Sometimes 3 weeks passed and we only been to school 2 or 3 times. I remember it was so hard, and all of us, it was so hard on us. But I believe that throughout everything that I've been through, God had a purpose for my life. He had a purpose, He had a calling for my life. And I remember the day I went to school, and there was an exam. And prior to that, I have not been to school for about 2 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks I haven't been to school. And I remember I got my result afterwards, and I fell in the top 10 of 42 students in the class. And for me that was amazing, because I realized that I was in the lower grade not because I wasn't able to do my work, but because the opportunity for me to move from one point to the next to get to school wasn't there. Even more, I understood more about my purpose after I decided that I'm gonna give Jesus Christ a try. At age 15, I told myself that I'm going to give Jesus a try. I'm going to serve him. And I took my time and I gave my life to Christ, and everything about my life changed. The poverty life took a turn, and everything else around me started to move, and I was now able to go to school as much as I need to. I was able to move from point A to point B because God started to provide. My life was nothing before I knew Jesus Christ, but the day when I decided that I'm going to give him my all, that was the day when everything about me changed. That was the day when my entire life changed. I was able to move from having nothing to where I am today. I was able to move from a point where it was so hard on my mom. It was so hard on my siblings. It was so hard on all of us. But I remember that God promised that he will never leave me nor forsake me. And at age 15, when I gave my life to him, he proved that one thing to me, that he will always be there, that he will always take care of me. And he did. When I was 17, I graduated from high school, and I wanted to go to college because I think that's something that one should aspire to do, education. And I decided that I want to do that, but there was no money. Again, back into the place of thought that, how is it going to work? Is it possible for me to go to college? And I had no money. Mom still never had enough to even send us to high school. It was the grace of God that brought me through. I graduated. I became a prefect in high school, and I realized something, that God had a purpose for my life. Because after I left high school, I was now able to go to further my education in music. I went to a school in Jamaica, in Kingston, Jamaica, Edna Malley College of Visual and Performing Arts, and that was just a blessing from God. It was the turnaround of my life that he allowed me, because even though I never knew how I was gonna get into school, I went and I did an audition. I applied for college. I did my audition and I got through, but there was no tuition. But God had a purpose for my life, and he knew my life even before. And I got a full scholarship. And that was like the happiest day of my life. And I realized that God had more for me. He had a purpose. He had a calling for my life. And when I got the scholarship, I went to school and I studied. Today, I am the type of musician that I am. I'm the type of artist that I am. Love what I do because of the foundation I got. Because God gave me a foundation at that school that would lead me to becoming a producer today, to becoming a gospel recording artist, to becoming an award-winning gospel artist. The Lord has blessed me so much. I've been traveling all over the world doing his work, doing the things that he has called me to do. And one thing I say, that I'm sold out for God 100%, because I cannot repay God for what he did for me. I remember stepping on the stage with different artists. I remember seeing myself on a poster with some of the artists that I aspire to be like growing up, and just to see them, just to be a part of what they do, just to be in the same company. It was just an honor. It's a pleasure. And I've seen where God took me from eating grapefruit and coconut for dinner to allowing me to eat whatever I want, to allowing me to travel different parts of the world. I've gotten the opportunity of traveling first class with the Prime Minister of my country in Jamaica. God has done so much for me. And I decided that I'm going to give him my everything. I'm going to give him my all. And so I got into full-time ministry. I've been doing this for a few years. Not having a 9-to-5 and just giving God my all, because he took me from a place of nothing. Today I'm proud to say that my album has won 5 awards. I've been traveling different parts of the world, touring, bringing the gospel of Jesus Christ. I am married. I have my beautiful boy on the way with my wife. The joy that I have within me is more than I can express. And I'm doing what I'm doing because I love God. I'm doing what I'm doing because I love what I do. I love God. And the love that Jesus Christ showed me when I was nothing to where I am today, I decided that I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to go to the highways, I'm going to go to the byways, I'm going to go to the edges for the lost, for those who don't have an experience, who have never encountered God. The Lord has baptized me with the Holy Spirit, has anointed me as a prophet over the nation, given me a vocal that is beyond my comprehension, and with the gifts and the talents that He has given unto me, I am here doing His work, doing His will, for His glory, for His honor, only because I made myself available to Him.